Hello everyone, welcome back to part 2 of my shooting football on film series. Today we are going to be looking at some pictures I took at an actual professional football match. So in last week's video we saw some pictures that I took for Hibernian at a training session. Now if you watched last week's video you will see that a lot of these pictures did not work, mainly because of double exposures. Now, if you want to find out more about what went wrong or see some of the pictures, make sure you check out last week's video. The link will be in the description, or just go onto my channel page. But for the match day, as I said in last week's video, I decided to bring that problematic camera with me because it had a zoom lens on it that I really needed. So I was a bit stressed going into this match day because I thought, what about if none of the pictures work again? But we'll get onto that in a minute. First, let's talk about the actual game day. So Hibernian were playing St Mirren FC, which are a team based in Paisley, sort of west of Glasgow. And it was an away day, so we were going up there. And it was really exciting for me. I've never been to a football game outside of Edinburgh since moving up to Scotland, so I was excited for that. Now, when it comes to gear, I use all the same gear as last week's video. I use my Canon A1 with a 28mm lens. I use my Praktica with the same 70 to 200mm lens. And I also brought a new camera, which is my Lomography Sprocket Rocket, which I did use, but I haven't got the pictures yet because I'm making a whole separate video about that. So there won't be any pictures from that camera in today's video, but they will be coming very soon in a whole dedicated video. But I did bring it along with me and shot some pictures at this game. So like last week, I jumped into the car Easter Road with the media team and we drove up to Paisley. Yeah, that was not the right floor. So after about an hour and a half in the car, we arrived in Paisley and I got my media jacket on and went straight to the media room. Now this room was quite small but very busy. There were other photographers, obviously the Hibernian media team were there, and then commentators of that game who were getting their makeup done to go on television. And then some other sort of security officers were there too. And in fact, I got my first picture of the day there because there was a football game on in the media room. I believe it was a Rangers game, if I'm not mistaken. And one of the people in the room was looking at the TV and I thought it was quite a nice picture. So I got this one here and I'm very happy with it. But that was the first picture I took. So I shot that on my Canon A1 with a 28mm lens, as I said, on Kodak Ultramax, which, like last week, was the film I decided to go with for this project. After that, I brought all my cameras with me and went to the side of the pitch. Now the media team told me that they wanted some pictures of the fans that they wanted to put on social media. I personally, for my own portfolio, wanted to take as many pictures of the players and sort of the match itself as I could. So I decided to split it up into two parts. So the first half I was going to stay at the away stand, so with the Hibs fans by the pitch side, but also go up into the stand and take some pictures, and then the second half go to the other side where Hibs would be scoring this time and try and get pictures of the players there. I decided to break it up so I could try and get the best of both worlds. So the players came out to warm up and this is where I took my first set of pictures. I actually shot a whole roll doing this and these are some of my favorite pictures. The lighting was really good. I think I got the exposure right for most of these pictures. I will mention some of these pictures are slightly underexposed. This zoom lens I was using on my Praktica goes down to f4, which is, yeah, I would have liked a lens that gone down to f2 or f1.8 maybe, which is obviously quite hard for a zoom lens. Most of them don't, but that is something to keep in mind. Some of these pictures are very slightly underexposed, but here are some of my favorite pictures from the warming up. I really like these goalkeeper ones because they're great action shots, I think. I love that you can see the ball moving with the motion below, but the players are just stuck in time, very sharp. And you can also see that his eyes are on the ball and I managed to get the ball and the goalkeeper in the same shot. I'm just very happy with this shot. Also this one of the goalkeeper. I really like the composition of this one. Definitely one of my favorites, but I like these black and white ones here. Now, I did have black and white film on me. These were actually color Ultramax, but I just made them black and white in Lightroom just because I thought they looked a bit nice, and it sort of broke them up in the set. Then the players went back into their changing rooms, came back out through the tunnel, and I was on the wrong side. I asked people which side they thought the Hibs team would come out, and no one really managed to tell me. So I sort of gambled and went to the wrong side, as you can see. So I took a couple pictures of the teams walking out, but the team nearest to me was the St Mirren team. So I got this picture, which I like a lot, but it's just of the wrong team. So after that, they all went out and shook hands before the game, and I got this picture, which is definitely one of my favorites. The composition I like a lot. I just like the two kits clashing a bit. And then I retreated to my position behind the goals to take pictures. I started off getting a few pictures of the crowd just because I knew they wanted me to take that, so I could make sure I had those. And then I got some pictures of the players. Now, when it came to the actual pictures of the players, I tried to make them just look different. So if someone saw these pictures, they'd immediately stand out. Now, obviously, shooting on film helps with that, but still in the composition, I wanted them to be a bit more original looking. So here are some of my favorite pictures from the first half. I really like these sort of hero shots of the players, like of Martin Boyle or Dwight Gale here. I really like the focusing. I thought I did well because a lot of these pictures, as you saw, the main focus of the image is not in focus, which is slightly annoying. But that's just part of the challenge of using older cameras. Obviously, you haven't got stuff like autofocus, so you have to nail the focus yourself. I didn't always manage to do that just because of how fast something like a football game is. It's hard if players are running towards you to nail your focus perfectly, but most of these pictures are in focus, so that is good. But yeah, these shots here are some of my favorites, definitely. I like the ones of, there's two actually, or three even, of Dwight Gale running towards the goal. I was very happy with these. One or two aren't perfectly in focus, but I just like the separation. Like this shot, I like the fact that it's just the two players on their own. It looks like they're on their own in the pitch, and the look, the warm tone of the film really just makes it a really nice picture in my opinion. So after shooting these pictures, I got more of the fans, and I decided to load a black and white film into my Canon, where I got these pictures. Now, as you can see, most of them are underexposed. I was using the Canon A1's automatic settings, and they still came out underexposed. I probably should have overexposed them by a stop or two. But yeah, I was trying to take this roll as quickly as possible. I still like these pictures a lot. They're very mysterious looking. This one in particular, I really do like. It's just a shame that it's underexposed, but yeah, I got a few like that too. So halftime, the score was 0-0. The players went away. I had my lunch and then quickly ran to the other side of the pitch where the players came back out, and I started loading my new roll. I had about 3 rolls left for the second half, and I decided to slow down on my picture taking just because I realized Hibs on their social media profile are probably only going to use about 5 of these images maybe, and for my portfolio I only need about 10 to 15 good ones, so I don't really need to be shooting 200 pictures because it's just a waste of film, I thought. So I decided to slow down a bit and focus on really good shots. And I'm glad I did that because it was quite an uneventful second half. Not that much happened. So if I just wasted a bunch of shots and pictures that weren't that important, I don't think it would have served a lot of purpose, to be completely honest. But yeah, it was a 0-0 game. Not that much happened, to be completely honest. There were a few bookings and a potential penalty that didn't happen, but they were all the other side of the pitch mostly, and I didn't really have that much I could photograph up close, which is one of the challenges of shooting something like a football game. Not every game is going to be a thriller sort of 5-5 game with penalties and amazing goals. Some games will just be 0-0, so you just have to keep that in mind obviously and try and get pictures that are still fun and exciting even when the match itself isn't necessarily. After that, I got a couple pictures of the players walking off the pitch, like this one in black and white, which I quite like. and then it was time to go. So I packed up all my things and went home. A few days later, I got my scans. That's what you're seeing right now. So looking at these, I'm actually very happy. I think most of these turned out amazing. I think the Hibs team are very happy with the pictures, which was sort of the most important thing for me, obviously. A lot of the fans really liked them, which was really nice as well. And just shooting something like a football game was really fun. I got to meet a lot of the players, interact with fans, meet some of the staff. It was just a really fun day out. A few things that I learned from doing this sort of project, because I want to do more sports photography in the future. So a few tips and tricks for people who are getting into that, especially on analog. Obviously get a zoom lens, but make sure it's fast, something under f4, because the problem you're going to mainly get is being underexposed. You want to shoot at a fast shutter speed, at least 500, because you want really sharp images, obviously. So keep that in mind. I would definitely recommend getting over 800 ISO film. That's what I'm going to do from now. I'm no longer going to shoot on 400 for stuff like sports. It's only going to be 800. It's just easier. I don't have to worry about underexposure at that point, and it will just make my day a lot less stressful. So 800 ISO film and much faster lenses. You need all that light. Because you're going to be at such a fast shutter speed, you need as much light as possible. Another tip is know the ground that you're going to. I did some research on this ground, but I probably should have looked at pictures of where other photographers had been, so I could know exactly where the best places to go are. Certain of the pictures that I took would have looked much better if I got a different angle, if I was seated somewhere else maybe. So do your research online, talk to other photographers if you can, and just make sure that you know as much about the ground that you're going to as possible. So I would definitely recommend doing this. If you've got a local football team, send them an email, say that you'd like to shoot some film for them. It's very fun, and it's great training for things like exposure, especially focusing. You have to focus as quickly as you can and try and nail it. It was challenging, but I learned a lot about focusing from this day, so definitely worth it just for that. And I think the pictures look good. It was very different for me. I'm not used to doing sports. Normally I shoot buildings or portraits. Shooting something really fast and exciting like football definitely was something very new and outside of my comfort zone, but I really enjoyed it. And it's always exciting getting pictures that are very different to what you normally shoot back from the lab. Now, in last week's video, I talked a lot more about the gear that I used and the film and why I chose this gear. So I definitely recommend watching that video as well. If you haven't already, the link will be in the description. If you want to see how Hibernian used my pictures from that day, make sure you follow my Instagram right here. It's samo_beer. You'll see a lot of pictures that I shoot on film, but also collaborations that I do will always be on my Instagram. So make sure you follow that. And other than that, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I plan on shooting much more sports, especially football and film. It's something I really want to lean into. So if you like this kind of content, make sure you subscribe. Much more will be coming in the upcoming months. Leave a like, leave a comment, tell me your thoughts on these pictures, and I will see you next week for a new video.